So I'm Caio, I'm 22 years old. My major is business administration. I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I'm on the soccer team here at Queens, and I'm also on resident assistant.
How long have you been in the Charlotte area?
So I came to the US my junior year of high school, and I lived in Orlando. So after I graduated, I moved to Charlotte, which was 4 years ago. So I'm here for 4 years.
Describe your experience during the last 2 years and more of the COVID-19 pandemic.
So COVID-19 was obviously very difficult for everyone. All families were affected by it, and people that were related to us. So I was on campus when COVID started. It was my sophomore year. It was during spring of my sophomore year. And the school told us that it would be better for us to go back home. So immediately my family started booking flights. So I went back to Brazil, which is my home country, the week after they announced that the classes were being canceled. So pretty much I spent the whole, that moment that was very difficult, the beginning of the COVID, I spent mostly in Brazil. It was good because I was with my family, but also I couldn't leave home and I couldn't interact with a lot of people. So it was a very difficult period, not only socially, but it was very hard to study as well, as the classes were all online. It was very difficult.
What do you remember of the early days? What did you do during the lockdown?
So lockdown was very difficult because I'm a soccer player here. I had to maintain my fitness and of course practice soccer as well. So I'll go out during the weekdays and practice usually by myself. After a couple of months, I started having someone to help me out with my fitness and my strengthening. So basically that was all I was doing in the beginning during the lockdown. I didn't go out to do other stuff, mostly only to get a fresh air and just to leave my home for a little bit.
Describe your experience going to school during the pandemic. Did you have to wear masks?
So yeah, after we came back, it was still during the pandemic. During virtual for me was very hard when I was still in Brazil. I couldn't go to all my classes. Participation was not the best, to be honest. I preferred in person way more than virtual. But when we came back to campus, we still had to wear masks. And then they switched to not wearing masks and to masks again. And now it's really good that we don't need to wear masks anymore, because it was very bad to speak in class. It was very bad to breathe. It was not a good experience.
Have your friendship or family relationship changed during the pandemic?
I believe my family remained the same. It was actually a little bit good because we spent a lot of time together. As I live in another country, all my family are in Brazil. I was able to spend a lot of time with them, which I don't do usually because I only go back home for summer and Christmas. So it was good that I could stay with them for more time, but also I wanted to go out and do things with my friends as well, and I wasn't able to. So sometimes we would have a little bit, some fights because of just spending too much time together, but overall it was good.
What did you miss the most during the pandemic?
So I really like doing things outdoors. So the lockdown and the pandemic was really bad for me. I hated it, to be honest. I love going out, going to the beach, playing soccer with my friends and my teammates here at Queens. So it was, I really missed just going out, doing sports outside and doing physical activities and just hanging out with my friends outdoors. So I think that's what I missed the most.
What are some good things you have learned through your experience during the pandemic?
So as I mentioned before, the pandemic was a really difficult period. So one thing that my dad talked to me a lot about was to appreciate the small things that we have every day. So all the good things, so being healthy in a very difficult economic moment, you have food on your table, so being able to eat even with such a big crisis, and being able to live in a place that you can have still a good quality of life, even though you cannot go out. It was a big thing for me. So after that, I just started to appreciate things a lot more. I started to appreciate my family a lot, because a lot of people that I knew, fortunately, I didn't have anyone very close to me then dying because of COVID, but I saw a lot of people losing their any members of their families. So I started to realize how important family is, and how that can impact us negatively.
What do you think your future will look like?
So, as I mentioned, I'm a senior. I'm going to graduate in May of next year. But I started realizing that I want to stay in the US. And right now, my goal is to do everything I can to stay. So I'm focusing a lot on my academic side. And because I have 2 years left of eligibility to play soccer here, I'm going to use it to do a master's degree. So I'm going to use my soccer to help me with some scholarship, because of course the education here is very expensive. So I'm going to use soccer to acquire a master's degree. And after that, I'm going to try to do my OPT and start working. I understand that if I want to stay in the US, I need to do a lot of stuff that are going to benefit me and they're going to help me in order to acquire my visa. So I started doing an internship now. I'm looking for jobs. I recently applied for the RA position here at Queens, just to improve my resume and my working experience. So I really want to stay in the US, because I really value the quality of life that people have here, and just everything about this country is I really like a lot. So my main goal is to stay in the US and live here, work here, and have a good quality of life in my future here.
You mentioned that you play soccer. How was playing during the COVID time?
So when COVID hit, no one was expecting that. It was very hard. So we're not during season when the COVID started. We were preparing for our season, but the COVID started during the spring, and during summer I was supposed to play in the summer league with Charlotte team. The team is called Charlotte Independence, and I was really looking forward to that. It was gonna be something that was gonna help me out a lot, and because of COVID, I was not able to do it. I had to go back to Brazil, and after I came back and we started playing the next spring, I was not fit like I was before, because I couldn't do a lot of stuff when I was in Brazil. And I understand that I should have done more, but what happened was that when we started playing the next year, I was not good physically, and I had a big injury, and that affected a lot my soccer career. I had to do a surgery, and I stayed out for like 10 months, 9 months. So I understand that was not COVID that made me have this injury, but COVID was something that really made me not focus a lot on my fitness and on my strengthening. And because of that, I had a big, serious injury that affected a lot my soccer. After that, things started getting better, and now I'm playing again. So hopefully we won't have any other problems later on.
Did the pandemic affect you and your family in any way?
So in Brazil, a lot of people were affected. A lot of people lost their jobs, and we could see it everywhere. But both of my parents, they have jobs that during the pandemic they were not affected. My dad is a doctor, so I think that area was the area that was less affected about it. The need for doctors were very high at that moment. And my mom, she worked less, but she worked virtually a lot as well. So she didn't get affected by it a lot. She was just working more from home. And and that helped us a lot to stay together. My dad would go and work a lot, which was something that really concerned us because pandemic was very strong at the moment, and my dad was leaving our house to work every day, and he spent most of the day out. So it was something that concerned us a lot. But financially, my family remained good because fortunately both of my parents had their jobs still.
What about mental health? How was your mental health during the pandemic?
So the mental aspect, I think it was the hardest, to be honest, because I'm a very outgoing guy. I love spending time with friends, going out and just having fun with the people that I love the most. And because of the pandemic and because of the lockdown, I wasn't able to do that. So I was really, really stressed out by having to just stay home and not do a lot of different things. So it was something that really affected me. What I did was I would do just calls with my friends and play some games on like computer and like phone in order to just entertain me and them. So yeah, my mental health was struggling a lot because I still had to study during that time, and it was just very difficult to do that and to just stay at home and without having any form of entertainment throughout that period.
So to conclude, what are your biggest takeaways from what happened during the pandemic?
Yeah, so the pandemic obviously was a really tough period, as I mentioned already, but I believe that with all the bad moments, there are good things that we can take from that, and I feel like a lot of people had to adapt, and I think the world started to realize that we need to focus more on our planet and be more sustainable because things like that are going to keep happening, and we just need to be more protective of the environment and be aware that if we don't try to maintain the things we have, we're going to end up destroying the world and causing even bigger problems. Also, I think there was a big difference in the way that jobs and job opportunities are being taken in place now. I feel like that a lot of companies started to adapt with the technology advancements and all of those things. And there's a lot of jobs now that even after the pandemic remain remote because it was easier for people. People started working more, started working better. So I feel like the pandemic also brought a lot of positive things for us. So we just need to always learn with the bad things and try to do the best that we can in order to live and have a good life.
Thanks for the interview.